I never planned to get into a war with my neighbor, but sometimes life hands you lemons. And sometimes life hands you a wild Karen who thinks the world is her personal Amazon warehouse. What started as a minor annoyance quickly spiraled into one of the pettiest and most strangely satisfying revenge plans I've ever pulled off, involving surveillance footage, an obscure law about mail theft, and yes, a very real skunk. It all began the summer I moved into the house at the end of the cul-de-sac on Sprucewood Lane. It was quiet, had a great backyard, and, importantly, I was finally able to afford a house with a front porch I could sit on while drinking my morning coffee. I'd been renting apartments for years, and the thought of owning something solid, something mine, felt like I had finally reached the level of peace I'd been chasing for most of my adult life. The peace lasted 4 days. On day 5, I noticed the first package was missing. It wasn't anything major, just a set of gardening gloves and some seeds I'd ordered from a small online shop. I figured maybe the delivery driver had made a mistake or the wind had knocked it off the porch. I even checked the bushes and asked a few neighbors. No luck. I ordered replacements and moved on. The next week, another package vanished. This one was a small toolbox. Again, I chalked it up to coincidence. But by the third missing delivery, I started to feel a pattern. And that's when I noticed her. Her name was Karen. Blonde bob, overly manicured lawn, the kind of munnin who always seemed to be standing on her porch judging everything with a cup of tea she never actually drank. I hadn't officially met her, but I'd seen her snooping around our street every morning in a bathrobe and slippers, walking her tiny dog and eyeballing everyone's property like she was some self-appointed neighborhood inspector. I even caught her peering into someone's recycling bin once. I decided to set up a camera. Nothing fancy, just a cheap doorbell cam with a motion sensor. I didn't tell anyone about it. I wanted to see what was really happening. It took less than a week. There she was, Karen, strutting across the road at 11:12 a.m. with her rat-sized dog in tow, looking both ways like she was crossing the street on a heist. She approached my porch, glanced around, snatched the package, and walked off like she had just borrowed sugar from a friend. Bold as hell. She didn't even flinch. She walked straight into her garage and shut the door. My jaw hit the floor. I replayed the footage 3 times just to be sure. She had a system, a routine, and I wasn't the only victim. My neighbor Jason had mentioned his daughter's birthday present never arrived. I asked around. People thought it was porch pirates. They never suspected Karen. Why would they? She was a pillar of the community, president of the HOA, ran the monthly book club, organized the 4th of July barbecue. She was also apparently stealing packages like a raccoon and pearls. I considered confronting her directly. Then I realized something about people like Karen. Direct confrontation just gives them an opportunity to play victim. They twist everything. I needed something better, something she couldn't talk her way out of. So I started collecting evidence. Every time a package disappeared, I cross-checked the camera footage. Over 2 months, I caught her red-handed 5 more times. Sometimes she'd hold the package to her ear like she was checking for a ticking bomb. Other times she'd just walk up, smile at my ring cam like a psycho, and leave with my stuff. I saved every clip, time-stamped them, filed the shipping receipts, and even noted the days and times. I had everything. But I didn't go to the police yet. That would have been too easy. Karen deserved something more poetic, more personal. I needed to make her stop on her own terms, and maybe freak her out in the process. That's when the idea hit me. The skunk. A friend of mine from college works at a wildlife rehab center. One night over drinks, I told her the story. She laughed so hard she nearly choked on her beer. Then she said something that flipped a switch. You know, we have these scent vials for training dogs. It's like liquid skunk. Harmless, but smells like the end of the world. She brought me one the next day. Now, I want to be clear. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. Just teach a lesson. The vial came in a secured bottle, sealed tightly, with a warning label that basically said, "Do not open unless you hate your nostrils." I took an old cardboard box, stuffed it with bubble wrap and packing paper, hid the vial in the center, sealed but ready, and left a fake shipping label on top. I addressed it to myself from a bogus company called Skunk Tech Solutions. I even put a fake tracking barcode on it. I left it on my porch, right next to the flower pot Karen always knocked over when she grabbed my boxes. And then I waited. The next day, just after 11 a.m., she arrived. I watched through the blinds. Karen strutted across the street like she owned the pavement, dog dragging behind her like it was tired of this nonsense. She approached my porch, glanced around, snatched the package, and walked off like she had just borrowed sugar from a friend. Bold as hell. She didn't even flinch. She walked straight into her garage and shut the door. I almost danced in my kitchen. Now here's the thing about skunk scent. Even sealed, if you open the bottle, the smell is immediate, pungent, unforgiving. My friend told me it could cling to surfaces for days if not handled properly. I didn't know exactly how Karen would handle it, but the results spoke for themselves. That afternoon, I heard a scream. A shriek, actually, from across the street, followed by gagging sounds, then coughing, then more screaming. I peeked out the window and saw Karen in her driveway holding the box at arm's length like it was cursed, green garden hose in the other hand, spraying it while hopping around like she was on fire. A minute later, her garage door slammed shut. Later that night, a neighbor told me Karen called a cleaning service, a carpet guy, and even a pest control company. Said she thought a raccoon had died in her walls. She never mentioned the package, but the best part, she started leaving other people's deliveries alone. The packages stopped vanishing. Everyone in the neighborhood began whispering about how the porch pirate ghost mysteriously disappeared. I kept quiet. Let them have their theories. A week later, I submitted the video evidence to the HOA anonymously with a thumb drive labeled for review. Karen resigned as HOA president the next month, citing stress and unexpected medical sensitivities. No one cried. She still lives there, but now she glares at my house like I built it on top of an ancient burial ground. I wave sometimes. She never waves back. The best part? I never had to say a word. I never accused her, never knocked on her door. I just let karma, a camera, and a little bit of wildlife justice do the talking. Thanks for watching this heartwarming tale from Pixar Tales. If the story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone who needs a little magic today. Your support means the world and helps us keep bringing these stories to life. Subscribe for more unforgettable moments, and we'll see you in the next tale.